thank you so much for being here. We have a few tunes we're going to play that are going to be a lot of fun here. We're going to get right into it, and we'll do a little chatting after each tune. We're going to open up with a Thelonious Monk tune called We See. It's going to be played by lovely Sam Williams on saxophone. Matt Smiley on bass. And B. Okay. That's Thelonious Monk tune. Questions, thoughts? Give me thoughts. Give me concerns. Give me things you thought about, things you noticed. What do you got? Anything? Anybody? Someone? Don't leave me hanging. One hand in the air. That's all I need. Yeah.
There's no piano, isn't he from the earlier games?
Dude. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
No piano. It's right there, and also back there. Yeah. So there started being. I don't actually know how soon it happened, but a lot of like cordless trios and groups really came to prominence, as far as I know, by the 90s, maybe 80s. You started getting a lot of saxophone bass drums, or you could do like bassless, like guitar, saxophone drums, that kind of thing. You started getting sort of unorthodox groups to play, kind of, getting tired of this idea of like piano, bass, saxophone, trumpet, drum set, bebop, right? You just wanted to like break out of that mold. So, very good observation. Yeah, there's no piano. Let's talk about what we have to do when there's no piano involved. For me, I have to think like a drummer and a piano player. So a lot of my snare, a lot of my playing around the kit needs to be more comping, because now there's not another rhythmic instrument to help me, right, maintain the form. I don't have to think about harmonies like these jabronis do, but I have to think about like the rhythmic aspect of it, right? What about you?
Yeah. I just, especially in this kind of a trio format, always think about just basically being kind of the glue between like the melody and harmony and the rhythm. So I'm just kind of trying to be like the quite literal middle ground between the drums and the saxophone. So keeping the form, walking bass lines, really strong accompaniment, trying to be maybe more clear, more precise with like the harmony, just because with not having a chordal instrument, it's easy for things to get a little imprecise and a little raw, where maybe people in the band can't 100% hear the form unless I'm really clear and really accurate with what I'm doing. So yeah, that's what I feel my role, especially in this kind of ensemble, is just trying to glue together like the harmony and melody with the rhythm.
In my role, given that there's no pianist or guitarist kind of playing all of the notes or the majority of the notes of a harmony, I'm free to kind of take the basic structure of the chord progression and do what I want with it. So if I know that Matt is playing, do they know chord changes?
Like a kind of.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So like if there's like a C chord, right, in the song, I know Matt's going to play a C. Well, I can play any other chord or represent any other type of harmonic idea that might have a C in it. Because I'm relating to him and I'm not having to relate specifically to the harmony of the tune. So it frees me up to be more harmonically adventurous, more melodic without clashing with the piano. And then also I feel like, given that there's one less very kind of orchestral instrument involved, that leaves a lot of space for us to communicate more. And so, one thing that I really like to do in this format is to, basically take the role of a piano or a guitarist and kind of comp or add some interjections or support to what these guys were doing during their solos. So it's a freeing, much more freeing context, but it also adds a lot more responsibility of listening to each other and being able to keep track of the form even when it's a little bit more ambiguous.
And just to quickly dovetail on Sam's note, I'm sure you'll have studied Sonny Rollins at this point in this year. So Sonny Rollins famously later on in his career would almost never work with piano players because it felt like the chords and all the piano notes would box him in where he had to play a certain way. So he would work more with like guitar players because guitarists can only play 6 notes at a time, and most jazz guitar players are only going to comp like 3 or 4 notes at once. So it gave him more freedom as a soloist rather than having like a piano player with 10 fingers playing these huge chords where you kind of have to just play what the piano player plays.
It's also, did you guys talk about Way Out West?
I know.
So there's, speaking of Sonny Rollins, who's like one of my musical heroes, one of my favorite saxophonists. Sonny Rollins has arguably one of the top 5 album covers of all time. Yeah. There's a record that he did called Way Out West, and it's him like out in the desert with like a cowboy get up and like guns and hat. But that's one of the earliest examples that I know of, because that would have been in the late 50s, early 60s, where he did a trio record with the bass player Ray Brown and the drummer Shelly Manne.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even doing like some country western tunes, like I'm an Old Cowhand, and like little country folk songs, but in a jazz trio. Yeah.
Cool. Any other thoughts, questions, observations? Cool. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna play. Wednesday. We're gonna do a more recent composition. We're gonna play a Kenny Garrett tune. Kenny Garrett is a great saxophonist, still kicking, still writing music, still releasing.
Was just in Denver.
released a terrible album.
Yeah.
But also he was just in Denver, yeah. Great musician. We're gonna play a song from an album of his called Triology, which is a chordless trio. And it's called Wednesday. about that? Comments, ideas? What do you got? You can also ask us questions about what we do when we play. Yeah.
The staff with their growl on the solo house sick.
Yeah, you like that? That'll cost you extra.
You
guys talked about like Pharaoh Sanders stuff?
That's what I was thinking.
I think you were free to touch on it more. Sagey might have touched on it a little bit. I have not.
Well, it's like the saxophone, I'll just comment on that really quick just to open it up, because it's like the saxophone is, and I say this selfishly because I play it and I like it, but saxophone's been like considered the closest instrument to the human voice without actually being the human voice. It's a very expressive instrument. There's a lot of different timbres and colors and things that we can do with, you know, shaping notes or bending notes, and kind of coming out of like the rhythm and blues tradition of the 1940s and 50s, where a lot of these saxophonists would rely on like kind of these very vocal qualities of the sound, like growling or screaming or gargling or whatever. And there was really kind of, maybe I would say lesser known saxophonist in the history of jazz, Pharaoh Sanders, who was like really kind of embodied that notion of like the human voice coming out through the saxophone. And actually there's a recording of Kenny Garrett playing that song with Pharaoh Sanders on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a live recording, and you know, there's a lot of that sort of like growling, screaming through the horn sort of thing. So that's cool that you caught that.
Yeah, and Sam and I both are performers, teachers, educators, do a million things. Sam plays a lot of classical music too, so just while we're here, if there's any other questions you also have, you know, feel free to throw them out.
Yeah, this is like an open, it doesn't have to be about what we just played. Like you can ask, this is your time to ask questions about music stuff. Blanket statement. Or comments. Or concerns. Go ahead. Yeah.
How long have you guys been playing together, and how long does it take to get that kind of synergy together?
The first time I played with Sam and Matt at the same time was 3 weeks ago now.
Mm-hmm.
We played for like 3 hours, 2.5 hours, something like that, with a bunch of different people. And that was like the second day that I'd met Sam, and I think maybe the first time Matt and I played together, although I've known Matt for a little longer. But the short answer, this is like the second time we played, and the first time we played in this configuration.
And Sam and I did our master's degree together, so we've been playing together since 2008. Yeah, yeah. We were, up at UNC Greeley. If anyone's ever considering a master's program, don't go to Greeley.
Oh man.
Go somewhere else.
Oh man.
It's a terrible program. But I met Sam, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. That's
Still paying for that student loan debt.
You get
But it's worth friendship. What price can you put on friendship?
$30,000 a year out of state tuition.
Yeah.
Can I expound on that a little bit? You know, so yeah, Zach and I mean, we met, like you said, 3 weeks ago, and then he said, hey, that was fun, and I said, that was fun, and he said, you want to come play for my class? And I said, absolutely. So, you know, we did not rehearse any of this music for you guys, but what we did do before this is many years of studying our instruments, studying the language, the recordings, and you know, we have this very cool Venn diagram of overlapping friends and colleagues. So when I play with Zach for, you know, 1 or 2 tunes, I'm like, oh, that's kind of the way that he likes to play, and I can relate to it in a certain way because of this kind of human connection that is expressed in an art form. It'd be like, I don't know, if you went to Germany and you happen to know some German, it's like, oh, you can strike up a conversation. So there are bands that are very rehearsed and it shows, and there are bands that are very unrehearsed and it shows, and then you have this kind of underlying kinship and connection, and it makes it very exciting and fun, because like, I don't know exactly what they're gonna do, and they definitely don't know exactly what I'm gonna do, but we can all relate while it's happening in the moment, which is, I think, I you know, can't really happen in many other iterations of life.
Jazz is all about reaction anyways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, sort of, you know, we haven't looked at a whole lot of lead sheets in this class. We haven't looked at a whole lot of sheet music, because this is more like a history survey than a music theory survey or anything. But, you know, when we listen to everything in this class from like Louis Armstrong to now, a lot of the stuff that you guys hear is not on the page, you know what I mean? Like, we just played a song called Wayne's Thang, and it's like 16 bars or something, and the melody is 8 notes, something like that. What matters is that we all know that song, we know the recording, like Sam mentioned, and we also listen to each other a lot. And so with musicians who have really practiced and really care about the music and the communal aspect of it, you can get together with no rehearsal and say, let's play these tunes and go for it, you know. And like Sam said, there's not a whole lot of other iterations of creative art or life that you can really do that in. It's like another language, for sure.
Yeah, and just as a good real life example, I was very fortunate to be invited to play an 80-year-old birthday party next month for a performance artist who lives down in Pueblo. And so I'll be doing part of this 9-hour music and performance art event of improvised stuff. And I looked up like the list of musicians, and it's mostly flute players, as well as like some performance artists. I know 2 of the people who are even involved in the whole event, and no one else. And I'm very much looking forward to showing up, meeting people who are going to be mostly from out of state, and figuring out some common ground to basically make music and create art with relative strangers, playing probably not even jazz musicians, people who play other kinds of, you know, classical music and experimental music. But again, it comes out of this shared jazz tradition of flexibility and listening and being able to kind of meet people where they are and try to find some kind of common ground. That doesn't happen very often, that kind of a thing, but you know, it's like, it's using those same jazz skill sets.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other thoughts? Yeah. What's up?
Oh, where's the composer from?
That composer?
Yeah.
Kenny Garrett is Detroit, yeah. Born and raised
There's
Detroit.
in the middle section, before it got into your solo, it's like Louisiana style jazz.
Oh.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of had a little bit of that groove, for sure.
That's also my fault. I started doing like.
Have you ever heard of Little Big Gumbo?
What's up?
Little Big Gumbo? Keys.
Oh,
It's very Louisiana style.
okay. I mean, I believe it based on the name, yeah.
Yeah, we were definitely hitting at it.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah, good year, good
the
year.
vibe on the recording, it never gets that New Orleans-y, but it gets a little there. Yeah, that's a really good observation.
There's a tinge.
There's a tinge.
You
Right.
guys talk about the meters at all?
What the what?
The meters?
Yeah, oh yeah. Like Sissy Strut? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
A
so
little bit. I mean, we don't get to touch that. More than fusion.
Sure.
but, yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Stage
Alright. Okay. Gonna do
Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah. Sure.
And,
Yeah.
and where does the class go? 150.
It goes until 1:10, so
1:10.
we may not get to
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna do at least one more. Depends on how far we stretch on this. This is a tune called Humpty Dumpty by Ornette Coleman. It is, I think we probably heard it when we talked about the avant-garde period. When we talked about Ornette, we probably listened to this, if I'm thinking back on it. It's fun. It's gonna be a little different, but it'll be fun. Yeah, just listen to it. You'll have fun. All right.
Tony's mad at me right now, so let's do one.
All right.
Someone else.
Thank you.